In this video, I want to talk about the power of saying no. Having the ability to say no to things that you don't want to be doing and things that you do want to be doing is so powerful. Now let me explain. Back when I first started this journey, I had a choice. I had a choice to go to France and have an epic summer in France, travel around France, a country I've never seen before, never been to, mountain biking, climbing mountains, hiking, everything, wild swimming, all of these things. I had the opportunity to go and do that. And I had to say no to that. And that, for me, was so hard. So hard because I live with the mentality that we only live once, tomorrow is never promised, and it's an opportunity that I might not ever get again in my lifetime. And I had to stop and I had to say no. Why did I have to say no? Because if I continued to do that and I continued to go off on these adventures, I wasn't giving the attention and the focus I needed to give to myself to be able to then move to the next step, to be able to focus and stay dedicated and stay disciplined and stay distraction free as much as possible from the task that I had in my head. I knew the person I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be a healthy and fit person. And I knew that going on this adventure would distract me away from what I was trying to do. So I had to say no to something that I really wanted to do to then give my all to the person I wanted to be. And I had to think long term, which again, very hard for me to think long term when I have this mentality of we only live today. I had to think long term. I had to be, that's going to distract me right now from being this person that I want to be. Once I'm this person I want to be, I can then go and have the adventures as this person rather than continue to go down the route of, and I knew if I went to France, I would get distracted, I would not be being focused on what I was eating. There's croissants, there's cheeses, there's like eating out, wine, all of this stuff. I knew I wouldn't have the discipline and the dedication to be that person on that trip, and I knew I'd come back the same person as I was because it's the same thing I've always done. So I had to say no to that distraction. I had to say no to that opportunity, and then I had to focus on where I wanted to be. So it works with other things as well. Saying no to things that you actually don't want to be doing. So you have to learn to say no to the things you want to do, and you have to learn to say no to things you don't want to be doing. And for example, I have always been somebody that if someone asks me to do something, I'm like, yeah, I do it, that's fine. Like, I don't even think about the process of doing it. I don't even think about how it's going to impact my day. I don't even think about how it would impact what I was trying to do. For example, I had a call from my stepdad. They were going on holiday, and the person that was looking after the cats was ill and wasn't able to look after the cats. George, can you go and stay at this house for a week and look after the cats? And I was like, I felt myself go to say yes, that's fine, and I didn't. I said, let me have a look at my week and see if I can fit that in. And then I stopped myself from saying yes straight away. And then I stopped myself and I looked at my week. I had planned on this, and if I was to move to that house for a week, I'd have to take all my gym stuff with me. I have to take this, and I have to do this, I have to do this, and all my routine that I had planned for that week would have gone out the window, and it would have been harder for me to do that. So I phoned back and I said, no, I can't. And for me, and it's these little things, when you start to say no to things, you realise where you're putting your time, where you're putting your value. and you're setting yourself boundaries. Like, you're giving yourself boundaries. No, because if I go out of my way to do this thing for these people, then I'm going to be taking away my time, my energy, my things, which could be being put into other places to get you to where you want to be. So the power of saying no to things you want to do and things you don't want to do is actually quite life-changing. So over the next few weeks, start to notice this. Start to notice where you're saying yes, what you're saying yes to, where you're putting your time, effort and energy, and how is that giving you a return. And don't get me wrong, you have to say yes to things sometimes, and you have to say yes to things you don't want to do sometimes. But try and narrow that down as much as possible. Try and think of yourself and put yourself in the situation of, okay, if I go and do that, what else could have I been doing instead of doing that? Where else could I be spending my time and putting my value? And write it down. Write it down, what you've said yes to, what you've said no to, how it's made you feel. Because when I first started saying no, it would make me feel guilty. I would feel guilty for saying no to something that someone's just phoned me up on a whim. Oh, can you go and do this for us? There was no thought process on how that's going to impact me for them. There was probably a thought process of how it's going to benefit them for them. But you've got to think of you in these situations, because it's your life and it's your time and it's your value. So you've got to start to take it back. Take back your time, take back the distractions, take back the noise, and figure out what it is you want to be doing. Because it might be something you say yes to every weekend because it's something you've done all the time and you just think that's a normal thing. But actually, why don't you say no to something this weekend? Or why don't you say no to something this week that you think you want to be doing, and actually figure out if you want to be doing it or not? Because it might just be that habit that's formed and you think, yep, that's me. Well, actually, let's say no. See how I feel. See how I can spend my time elsewhere. See what other things I could be doing. So it's all playing around with things. It's saying yes, no, missing out on opportunities, but are they missed opportunities, or are they new opportunities to do something different? The power of saying no. Give it a try and let me know how it goes.